the Premier talks a lot about people going to work when they've got symptoms and that sort of thing, but more and more information that you've obtained suggests there's a problem happening here at the government and the level of the health authorities, quite simply that their tracing is not up to it.
Just not up to it, Kieran. These worrying, continuing reports we're hearing here at Sky News that it is taking up to 9 days for people in regional Victoria to get their test results back, really affecting local businesses and their ability to staff them, as well as having the potential to spread the virus far worse because you can't get to the contacts until you get those results. In New South Wales, people are waiting an average of 24 hours for a result. In Victoria, it can be up to 9 days. I've interviewed the state MP for the area, the city of Colac, 150 kilometres from Melbourne, is in Richard Reardon, who says he believes there should be federal intervention in this crisis in Victoria because the Victorian government is just not doing enough with its contact tracing and testing regime to stem the spread. I understand that you believe that there needs to be greater federal intervention in Victoria generally. Is that fair?
Oh, absolutely. Here in regional Victoria, look, I'm getting exasperated, as are my constituents. Again, late yesterday in the press, Daniel Andrews is reminding everybody that it's only taking 48 hours, maybe a bit longer, an average of 2 days to get results. I've just got so much evidence that it's 6, 7, 8, 9 days to get a result. Quite frankly, Andrew, I think it's at the point that Daniel Andrews and the Victorian Health Department are going to have to set aside and perhaps call the feds in to help out, because it seems that the rest of Australia has its act together, but here in Victoria, we're sadly lacking.
We'll play that full interview on Afternoon Agenda shortly. Here is a letter from a local business owner in Colac to Mr Reardon, which illustrates the problem. I'm writing this email to bring to your attention one of the reasons we are up against it to fight this virus in our community. We don't want to make a big song and dance about it. We just want the appropriate people to know. I'm the owner of a small business of 5 workers in Colac. The week when the outbreak first hit, our worker, who has a daughter that goes to Trinity, which is one school which had positive test, and myself both showed no symptoms. We thought we would do the right thing by everyone due to our exposure to a vast number of people in the community, and we got tested to eliminate ourselves as potential carriers. We tested straight away on Saturday, the 18th of July. We tested at different times during the day. We are still waiting on our results 9 days later. I've heard of numerous cases like ourselves also. And then this business owner says this: we don't stand a chance if the right foundations aren't in place in dealing with this crisis. In New South Wales, where they've been doing 10,000 plus tests a day and up to 30,000 on occasion a day, the average wait for test results, I'm reliably told by senior state government sources, is 24 hours. Daniel Andrews, I guess, needs to explain why it takes 9 days to get a test result back in regional Victoria and 1 day in regional New South Wales. We know the Army has gone in the last couple of days after initial reluctance to accommodate them by the Andrews government to help with contact tracing, but the question is it too late? Here is Scott Morrison from earlier today on the concerns about testing and contact tracing in Victoria, where in answer to a question from me, he says he is not looking at a federal intervention at this time, but he confirms that the fact his Bushfires Royal Commission is examining where the federal government could take over from the states in terms of emergency responses relates to situations like this. Morrison also did not rule out a hard stage 4 lockdown in Victoria where many more businesses would be shut. With more than 500 cases today in Victoria, are you concerned about the ability of the Victorian government to be on top of this outbreak? We're hearing stories of people taking up to 9 days to get their test results back, particularly in regional Victoria. That makes contact tracing difficult. When you set up the Bushfires Royal Commission, one of the terms of reference was when the federal government can intervene in terms of an emergency response. Are we heading that way here, first of all?
There has been significant community transmission in Victoria that will take some time to get on top of, and that is what the actions are directed to addressing right at this very moment. On the broader issues, the federal government has just one job, and that is to support the Victorian government in all of these initiatives. That's why there's more than 1,400 ADF personnel in Victoria right now, supporting across a whole range of tasks to give Victoria every effort, resource that they need to get on top of this. Tracing is clearly a challenge, and that's why so much of the effort and resource has been put into that area. The Royal Commission that you make reference to is looking at a very similar issue when you're involved in national crises, and I'll let the Royal Commission do their work on that. Whether that has broader application to circumstances like this, I'm sure people will form judgments about that at the time, but I'm certainly not going to prejudge that.
Do you concede the Victorian government has let this get out of control? That the Victorian government is responsible for the fact they haven't done the contact tracing and testing quick enough on top of the hotel quarantine debacle?
I'm going to respond the same way as I did to my earlier question, Andrew. It's my job to support Victoria, to help Victoria, and that's what I'm going to do.